an hour late, but I can assure you it is because we were getting certain things done that I'm about to announce this afternoon. Tobago, as the young people say, has an aura about it. And I am glad to report to Tobago and Trinidad this afternoon that that aura has prevailed, I believe, in the interests of the people of Tobago during quite a lengthy set of meetings that took place this morning at the Prime Minister's official residence in Tobago. As you are aware, I had invited Mr. Adam Stuart, and Dr. Rowley had also invited Mr. Adam Stuart to come to Tobago, to come back to Tobago. And I am happy that despite his very, very busy schedule, because Adam is literally running a very big, successful hotel chain of Sandals and beaches throughout the whole CARICOM region, from as far north as the Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, come all the way down to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that he was able to find the time to visit Tobago. The timing was dictated by his calendar, so fortunately he was able to fit in, along with quite an extensive executive team of the Sandals chain, a meeting with us this morning in Tobago. As soon as I'd received the date from him, I immediately reached out to the stakeholders, and it is a representative group of stakeholders of the people in Tobago, because our position, central government's position, is that the development and investments in Tobago are a priority for us as a government, and I certainly intend to continue that, but also that it was important that the people of Tobago and the various stakeholders, be it the farmers, the fishermen, the taxi operators, as well as business people, the business sector, the hotel association of Tobago, participate in any discussion that I was going to have along with the members of the central government with Mr. Adam Stuart and the Sandals group. It was also important to have the Tobagonian politicians present at such a meeting where we were engaging with the Sandals group. So I'm pleased to say that we had the Chief Secretary leading his team of the Secretary of Finance as well as the Secretary of Tourism present and participating in the meeting this morning. We also had, as I call him, Comrade Watson Duke there with his representative as well, who turns out to be, as you're all aware here in Tobago, the representative representing the fisher folk in Tobago. And they came in their colorful manner. We were all dressed in business attire, and of course Comrade Duke, who can never lose the opportunity for a bit of, I'll call it, friendly theatrics, turned up in his political attire and jersey with a jacket over it. I then also had with me, as the government's team, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, Minister Randall Mitchell, and importantly the two young ladies who, along with my predecessor, Dr. Rowley, have been the advocates at the Cabinet for the last 9.5 years, advocating for progress, development, and a fair share for the people of Tobago. I had Minister Shamfa Kujo, the Minister of Sport, Culture, Sport and Community Development, and of course I had Minister Ayana Webster-Roy, who is a minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for gender and child affairs as well as Tobago affairs. I also had with me the two Tobago senators, government senators, Senator Ansel Dennis as well as Senator Lawrence Hislop. On the Tobago House of Assembly side, we had the minority leader, Sir Kelvon Morris, as well as Councillor Petal Benoit present. We then had Mr. Dion Taylor, the Tobago District Agricultural Society. I was quite pleased that he made this a priority and was there today, as well as Mr. Roland Murray, the president of the Goldsboro Young Farmers Association, Mr. Curtis Williams, the President of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Alpha Lord, the President of the Tobago Hotel Association, Mr. Martin George, the President of the Tobago Business Chamber, Mr. Joseph Johnson, the President of the Tobago Taxi Cab Association, Ms. Diane Haddad, the past Chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Sean Robinson, the President of the Divers Association, the Dive Association of Tobago, Mr. Demi John Cruikshank, the former President of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, Pastor Glenroy Frank, the leader of the People's Church of Tobago, Mr. Watson Duke, Assemblyman of the THA, and Mr. Curtis Douglas as President of the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association, as well as Mr. Jeremy Nutt, sort of representing the private sector business community outside of formal associations, someone with a long history here in Tobago. We initially engaged under my chairmanship and that of the central government as a group without the Sandals executives in the meeting. And the purpose of that engagement was for me as the Prime Minister to have, quite frankly, an open conversation with the various stakeholders that I've just listed, and to tell them that it was central government's position, having looked closely at the Sandals brand, but not saying exclusively that the only hotel chain that should look at investing in Tobago is the Sandals brand, that we wanted to have a conversation with the Tobago stakeholders, because this is all about Tobago and investment in Tobago, and importantly, the development of Tobago. And then I wanted a conversation that was had asking whether we in central government, as well as all of these very important Tobagonian stakeholders, should not request of Mr. Adam Stuart and the Sandals Group that they consider looking at Tobago again and investing in Tobago and making Tobago a destination of the Sandals brand. One of the things I put immediately on the table is this is all about development and investment for the people of Tobago. Because this type of investment and development is going to lead to employment for Tobago. It is going to lead to a number of increases in business in Tobago and all of the basket of positivity and productivity that comes with it. I also said this is a clean slate. Because as you may have heard me say within the recent past, I cannot change the past. No one can change the past. I am prepared to ask Mr. Adam Stuart to consider that we have here a clean slate, and if Tobago wants it, if Tobago wants the development, they want to uplift Tobago, they want to reach closer to the potential, the great potential that Tobago has in this global tourism product and competition, then Tobago, along with central government, should ask Mr. Adam Stuart to consider coming back to Tobago, taking a look at it, and if they so desire, making Tobago a destination and an investment of a Sandals hotel. It was an excellent conversation that dominated the room. And by the end of the various views and the various inputs, everyone who wanted to speak, spoke, and hearing from everyone, I asked the room, and collectively everyone agreed that we should invite Mr. Stuart and his executives in to do a presentation and to have conversation with us. Tobagonians, if it is one wish I had for today, was that every single Tobagonian could have seen the presentation that was done by Mr. Stuart. It was not a presentation for Tobago, but it was such a powerful presentation, and one delivered with passion by Mr. Adam Stuart, showing what Sandals can do and the benefits that it does bring. He used an example of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where they literally opened a new hotel there, a Sandals hotel, in March of last year. And the amount of positive growth that was generated from that, I honestly wish that every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and most importantly you, the Tobagonians, could have seen that presentation. The amount of airlift that it was increased by. An airline like American Airlines now flying there more than once a day on some occasions. And just the whole variety of positivity, the employment, etc. But that is not for me to do. That is for them to do. And it was done. So at the end of that meeting, Mr. Stuart said a number of things to us. That he has always loved Trinidad and Tobago, that he's had a particular passion for Tobago, that he continued to have a relationship with Trinidad and Tobago. And he said a few interesting things, along with telling us how the brand had been built and the recent awards and the global marketing scheme that they've now launched, which I took a very careful note of, Made of Caribbean, and showed a particular slide that shows they spent 735 hours last year on primetime international television. If you work that out, that is more than the 2 hours a day on primetime international television, and the reach it got and how it had positive effects on all of the islands that they're invested in. And he said that he agrees it's a clean slate. He agrees that the past is the past. What I should say at the start, as he came in and I gave the introduction of who was there gathered from Tobago and from Trinidad, central government and all of the various stakeholders, and Mr. Stuart introduced his team, one of the very vocal people, a lady by the name of Diane Haddad, saw it fit to then give a very passionate and emotional apology to Adam and his brand, and to apologize for what had happened in the past and any unfortunate words and language that were used, not by her, but by persons in the past, because we understand how a brand could be harmed. Adam said, listen, basically bygones are bygones, bygones are bygones, and let us get on with it. This is a clean slate, and he wanted to show all gathered. I then asked Adam and his team to allow us to caucus once again in their absence. And they then engaged in some robust conversation. And we were looking to get one very important point out. I was looking in particular for consensus by everyone in that room, and unanimous consensus that we should invite Adam, Stuart and the Sandals group to look at Tobago and to consider future investment and making it Destination Tobago part of the Sandals brand. I am happy to say that almost immediately, unanimously, everyone in the room said an astounding yes, that we should pursue that path. Watson Duke and Assemblyman Watson Duke and Mr. Curtis Douglas left just before that, but before they left, they both indicated invitations for who they represent to Mr. Stuart and the Sandals group, that they would like to see them in Trinidad. The Chief Secretary had said that Tobago is open for business and they look forward to FDI, final investments, and to attract foreign direct investment. So we had the robust conversation. It was unanimous to invite Sandals to look at Tobago again. And then, I have to say quite sensibly, one of the stakeholders in the room, Mr. Martin George, who is a lawyer by profession, suggested that everyone in the room representing the Tobago stakeholders agree to a resolution before we invited Mr. Stuart and his team back in the room. And I'm happy to say that it was developed by the Tobago stakeholders with some legal input by me. the following resolution. Tobago Sandals Development Resolution. Be it resolved that having had a meeting with the Prime Minister, the THA, and the central government, and the team from Sandals Resorts, we, the leaders and representatives of sectors and interest groups in Tobago, have collectively agreed that it is in the best interest of Tobago for us to invite the Sandals Group for discussions and negotiations for the bringing to Tobago of a Sandals resort, if they so desire. And that was signed by everyone in the group from Tobago and the Tobago stakeholders. So Chief Sec Farley Augustine, go down the list. The only two people who are departed by that stage were Watson Duke and Curtis Douglas. Both gentlemen who we all heard and who they expressed of their own volition to Mr. Stuart the exact same sentiments before they left the room and said that they can be counted in. I then invited Mr. Stuart and his group to rejoin us, reported what I think is very good and positive news to him, and he immediately thanked us and said they have five investments right now of new hotels throughout the Caribbean that they are embarking on. I told him make Tobago the 6th. He has undertaken that they will go back, they will have the necessary discussions, and I am hoping in the not too distant future the Sandals Group will take a positive decision to look at, not only to look at Tobago, because that's what they've gone off to do, to indicate to us that they are prepared to brand Tobago as part of their destination packages and to invest in Tobago a Sandals hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, and in particular Tobagonians, this is a good development. Sometimes God gives you a second opportunity at something. Sometimes when you're given a second opportunity, what you do is you look at what happened in the past. And if you have to pivot and you have to make certain directional changes, you do so. But what I saw in that room today, and the type of conversation and collaborative effort I saw by stakeholders of Tobago, is a very positive thing and a positive development and a step in the right direction for Tobago and the people of Tobago. I give the undertaking that as Prime Minister, I will do everything in my power to secure the future investment and development in Tobago. So today, it went a lot longer than I had predicted. Mr. Adam Stuart and his team have departed with a copy of the resolution in his hands, which he said he's very pleased to do. And he's gone away to give it, hopefully, some positive consideration. And I expect to hear from him in the not too distant future. In the meantime, what I told the group is we should not lose the momentum of collaboration. And let's not spoil a potential opportunity if it arises. It was very cordial, very positive. I'll go beyond cordial types of energy in the room. And I'm really hoping and looking forward that in the not too distant future, Tobago will be the pride of the Sandals Group. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, and we will be able to have a Sandals hotel here in Tobago for the people of Tobago, inviting persons to come and spend their money in Tobago. So I thank you all very much for your attending here this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to the positive outcomes as we go forward. I'll take a few questions.
Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister.
Afternoon.
Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News. In terms of today's meeting, any deadline as to when Mr. Stuart will return? And in terms of the location, I know environmentalists, they were concerned about the location in Buku was that presented in terms of you looking, Mr. Stuart looking at somewhere else? I know at various sandals around the Caribbean, in terms of some of the sandals I have visited, I have noticed that they have refurbished some construction sites. So is it that they will be acquiring another hotel in Tobago? Was that looked at?
All right. Let me start on one question at a time. Let me start with the first question. I'm trying now, Liz, to remember you had a long second question. The first question was
in terms of agreeing to return.
Okay, timeline. We didn't put any pressure at all on Mr. Stuart. In fact, one of the things we discussed that was raised in the meeting before inviting him in is we all recognize the period that we're in, and we're 3 weeks away from a general election. So we did not put any timeline on it because we just wanted the opportunity for this first step, which takes me to the second point. It was decided and agreed that this is the first step. Let us not jump ahead of ourselves, which is one of the lessons we need to learn from the last time. Let us take it step by step. So the first step is we ask the Sandals group if they're prepared to engage with us with the intention to invest and to brand a Sandals brand in Tobago. So we're waiting on the answer for that. There was some discussion as to sites, etc., location. I said, hey, let us not jump ahead of ourselves. There was also the question raised about the environmental NGOs. And the answer to that was the environmental NGOs' participation at this stage is premature. Because the first thing we need to do is get a yes from Mr. Stuart and the Sandals group that they're prepared to come to Tobago. Then part of that discussion will start to be location, investment, and these types of things. We are very, very mindful of the need for the environmental groups, but also, as was discussed in the meeting, is the law. We are not going to do anything to breach the law. The EMA and public consultations, re the environment, with respect to the environment, are part of the law. But we will, once we reach that stage, but I've made it very clear to the group, and I'm asking everyone, let's take it one step at a time. Let's get them back re-engaged. When they come, then we started to have those necessary discussions. Also, what I could say, as you say that you've visited Sandals around the Caribbean, a number of them, you will know that in some of those islands, they have employed technology that actually rebuilds reefs, and they always use the wastewater, and they make sure that there's no pollutants in the effluent water, etc. But again, let's take it one step at a time. Let's stand by and hope that we get a positive yes from Mr. Adam Stuart and the Sandals group, and then we begin those engagements. And at every step of the way, I give the undertaking that I will do exactly as I'm doing now. Come to the people of Tobago and report whatever goes on. But I am also, as we discussed in the group, if we reach that stage of engagement with Mr. Stuart, in my view, the next thing that needs to happen, if he decides to come, is that presentation or derivative of that presentation needs to be done to the people of Tobago. That is how we're going to do it going forward. Let people of Tobago see what this means and the potential of it, and then we take it after that. There's going to be a lot of engagement.
I know you said no timeline, but was it agreed upon exactly when Mr. Stuart will communicate with the government or the Tobago House of Assembly?
He will, I can tell you the answer is he will communicate with the central government. We are the people who have been engaged with him, and that's just how the relationship is. And no, I didn't put any timeline or put any pressure on Adam. As he told us, he said, look, currently in my pipeline of development, I have 5 hotels, and I told him, Adam, make us the 6th, and I will wait for him to get back to us. Of course, I will stay in touch.
Good afternoon, Candice Jackson from Tobago Updates. How does the presentation compare with the previous presentation where we had the presentation for Sandals and beaches to be invested?
The presentation now has even more factual support for a business case with Sandals, and the best example we can turn to, because it's always best to look at reality is what they've just done in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We were also able to see it was not a presentation geared for Tobago. Huh? So we didn't get into, well, this is the potential site for Tobago, this is what we could do for Tobago. Because remember, it is us inviting him to come to Tobago, and I told him, Adam, you come and you tell us about Sandals. It is literally a start from scratch, but with us knowing what Sandals means. And that is what he presented. So it was good from the point of view, I hope, that people in the room saw the missed opportunities, the number of Sandals hotels that were built in the period of time that ours would have been operational. And we were getting our beaches and the Sandals. But again, let's see where it goes. So he presented facts. He said, so we saw, for example, after they decided not to pursue it in Tobago, a new one was done in Curacao, the one in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, another one in St. Lucia, another one in Jamaica. We're seeing the plans of what those 5 hotels, he showed us 2 of them, and how expansive that these new investments are elsewhere. He did also say to us that it's a clean slate. He is prepared from an investment point of view to indicate to all of us who are gathered there today that their usual model is one where he is prepared to invest in the plant, as we call it, the hotel itself.
And just for clarification, would that mean that he would want to construct, as opposed to the previous plan where the government was going to construct the plant and then
so I want to get, as I say, take it one step at a time, but I found it interesting that he is the one that offered that. But I'll tell you something, from a central government point of view, it would be a great investment, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Randas in the Express newspaper, on the last occasion when Sandals withdrew, bad press was blamed for that situation. What is the strategy going forward should this happen again?
Well, first of all, there's no way, Anna, that I am going to say there's going to be bad press. I mean, bad press, you are the media, you are the ones writing the story, you are the ones responsible for the input into what goes into the press. Immediately as I left that meeting, I came here to engage with you, the media, and through you to the people of Tobago and the people of Trinidad. So I would hope that just a few persons who may have different opinions don't spoil anything that would be best for Tobago in terms of development, that would be best for Tobago in terms of investment. But again, we're not there. And I'm not going to speak speculatively about bad press in the future. I am hoping the way we engage, if he takes the decision to re-engage, that it will be very, very positive.
You mentioned a couple times that this is a clean slate. Does that mean that going forward, there will be a fresh round of consultations with stakeholders across the board? You know, I saw Mr. Raymond in his newspaper column today, Afro Raymond. He mentioned that if the project is to be revisited, that there should be consultation on it. So do you agree?
You know, they have some people who know that there's certain things that have to happen. So if I come here and I say, well, you know, tomorrow when the sun rises, we will all wake up and brush our teeth after we say our prayers. And then when we all wake up tomorrow morning, when the sun rises and we brush our teeth and say our prayers, say, see, I told you so. As I said, we are going to operate within the law. We're going to operate on a consultation basis. So it is obvious that that is going to be part of the process. And I am not going to listen to the people who are trying to upset something that doesn't even exist as yet.
We have a general election just about 3 weeks again. So has Mr. Stuart given the assurance that he will return to Tobago? Should you remain as Prime Minister, or if things change, has he given that guarantee that he will return no matter what?
On the 29th of April, I look forward to welcoming Mr. Stuart and the Sandals group, should they take the decision to be back here in Tobago. As I just responded to Elizabeth, I am not putting, and we did not put any pressure on Mr. Stuart as the timeline. This really was for us to pitch to him, and I'm happy it was unanimous view of the room. Please take another look at Tobago.
Knowing that we are just weeks away before...
3 weeks.
Yes.
Exactly.
3 weeks before the elections. Just wanted to know from you, in terms of the caucus meeting, was it spoken upon by the leaders there to be cautious of utterances on political platforms with respect to the Sandals
Okay, I was going to say, if I had achieved that one, Elizabeth, that leaders on political platforms would not only be cautious but be responsible, then I would have performed a miracle this morning. The answer is yes, we did have some discussion. By then, Mr. Duke had left. But the discussion and the agreement was that the position coming out of today's meeting is exactly as I've articulated. What came out of today's meeting is a unanimous decision to ask Mr. Stuart and the Sandals Group to consider investing in Tobago with a Sandals hotel and branding Tobago as part of its destinations.
Yes, you mentioned that the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Sandals has resulted in tremendous airlift for the island. Was there anything said that was just due to the Sandals in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Could we expect the single Sandals in Tobago to produce the same?
I guess every jurisdiction is different, but the answer to your question is an easy yes, because it is the Sandals Hotel that is a new plant put down in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and that is what attracted the airlift. Mr. Stuart told us that he had gone to the headquarters of American Airlines with that specific destination in mind, asking them to take a look at it. They initially put on a couple flights, and very, very quickly, within a matter of months, that expanded. That was immediately followed by Virgin flying there more as well, and JetBlue as well. And he said that Air Canada is now looking to put on. And one of the interesting facts that he put forward to us that he's seen in other destinations and arrangements, because when he engages the airlines, that if 50% of the plane coming to whatever the destination is filled with Sandals guests, the rest of the plane eventually follows up. And what it does, those guests now are coming to the other hotels, etc. on the island. But yes, I think it is empirical fact that that airlift increase was as a result of the Sandals.
We spoke a lot about the Sandals brand and the type of hotels and resorts they bring. Are there other models being considered for tourism development?
That was part of the initial discussion with the Chief Secretary and the THA. The answer is that Tobago is open for business. Tobago welcomes investment. That is the position of the central government as well as the THA. This meeting today was to engage the Sandals Group. I am a person who likes to stick to what is the task in front, so we focused on Sandals. But I did say, as I said here a short while ago, this is not exclusive to Sandals, meaning if there's other investment and people want to build quality hotels in Tobago, then let's have the discussion. But today was engaging Sandals. Take a couple more questions. Just pass the mic.
In the 2017 agreement with Sandals, the central government had agreed to provide us the lands and the funding to build the plant. So this time around, on a clean slate, does that offer still stand, or has it been revisited?
A clean slate is a clean slate. As I've said numerous times during the course of today's interaction with you, let us take it step by step. Let Adam, Stuart, and the Sandals Group say they will look at Tobago, they're interested in investing and making destination Tobago, and we take it from there. That was the extent of the conversation today, step by step.
You mentioned that they have 5 other projects throughout the Caribbean. Are they funding these projects themselves, or are governments?
I cannot speak to the specifics of what is going on with those investments, who is funding it, where it is coming from. I did tell you that he made an interesting comment to us that the normal model is that they are the ones who will participate in the investment. All right, I think, again, there's nothing more that I could say on that. Let us now wait and hope that the Sandals Group agrees to come and re-engage us here in Tobago.
Can I ask a question that is not related to Sandals?
Please.
I saw that criminal charges against David Lee has been discharged. What are your thoughts on that? I think 3 years ago the opposition leader had said this was a political witch hunt. What are your thoughts?
Well, I have not been on my phone nor engaged with it, so I'll have to get the information surrounding that, assuming it is true, and I don't expect you to mislead me. The government, the central government, the government that I lead, we have no interaction with criminal charges. We are not the persons who bring criminal charges. There's an Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions that is a constitutionally independent office. I think that needs to be directed at the DPP. It certainly wasn't anyone in the government or the PNM government that charged Mr. Lee, so I assume whoever charged him had evidence that they thought would support a charge. From my experience in the courts, it is for a court to determine, assuming it was determined by a court, what happens with what is brought before it. Okay? All right. I'd like to thank you all very, very much, and I look forward to continued engagement with you in Tobago as well as in Trinidad. Thank you all and have a good afternoon.